leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss. Now you counting stars. Should've practiced more. Should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much. World combat sports. Talking way too much. World combat sports. Talking way too much. World combat sports.
Yo, big shout out to the hottest chat in the MF and Game, A-Side official. No negotiations needed, period. You already know WCS back in the building. Salute. Let's get down to it, man. The talk of all talks have resurfaced. Yes, we're talking about Canelo Crawford. But also we have to touch bases with the current situation of the aftermath of Keyshawn Davis and this situation of not wanting to apologize. So we're going to combine effort to kind of get to a medium, you know what I'm saying? Trying to figure it out. What's fair in all of it. Okay. We have headlines that's out here where, people have spoken on what they select to do. I mean, not really what they select to do, but how their assessment goes with, Keyshawn Davis vice his actions, how the Davis brothers handle themselves and everything else. Unfortunately, I got to put this out there that I don't like to see these brothers shining just because another brother messed up. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to see that. I don't like to see another brother shining in the midst of another black man screwing up. I would like to see them shine consistently based off merit and whatever, we want to congratulate them on in that perspective. But in this case, not to take anything away from Abdullah Mason, all I'm saying is you have a lot of people with their hand in his back trying to shove Abdullah Mason to the front like he really wasn't already there anyway. It was a lot of people that was supporting and talk about Abdullah Mason. He's the next. I like his attitude. I like his demeanor. I like his maturity. I like him in the ring. There was a lot of people that was already getting behind it. And you know what happens sometimes when certain people start to outshine others who believe they're doing everything they're supposed to do. They're getting hometown fights. They have people coming out. They're bragging about the numbers that they did at the gate. So they're basically separating themselves. And I can't really knock Keyshawn for doing that. I mean, what's a little bragging? It ain't that bad to brag a little bit, right? But with the bragging, you have to continue to perform. The results have to match what people are hearing you being vocal about. It has to continue to match up. So at the end of the day, you won't have people just saying that Keyshawn is all talk. Well, Abdullah Mason is shining amid the controversy of, first of all, Keyshawn Davis' inability to balance the scales, poor judgment when asked, is he going to lose the weight? Overreaching his assumption meter, believing that Team De Los Santos was going to allow him to get away with missing weight with that many pounds. Also, you have to factor in that I initially reported, because this is what I read from different sites, that Samson was pretty much the one that didn't want to touch it. And because this is true, he did do it. You know, he say he touched Keyshawn, because this is on video. He touched Keyshawn and he felt like he was super dry. Now that can go many ways. You know, he can be dry from trying to lose the weight and other things. But he didn't seem like he was near death. He seemed pretty hyperactive and energetic. So it's going to be hard to convince the fans that you was bone dry and you didn't look like Shakur did in Newark. You didn't look like Devin Haney did in Australia. You know, you just wasn't there yet. So, you know, you said you wasn't going to lose the weight no more. It got to a point where De Los Santos team is going to, you know, play hardball and said, no, we want per pound penalty, not just the 20%. And, you know, the stupidity of this, outside of the actions and all that, this may have got the ball rolling downhill for Keyshawn when he just didn't take the per pound. He said, I'd rather have no money than give away money, which in this case just didn't make any sense, because now you have individuals out here saying that you ducked the fight and you didn't want the De Los Santos fight. It's some boxers out here that sparred De Los Santos and say the guy got some power. He can bang. You have people out here that saying Keyshawn sabotaged the fight. He truly didn't want the fight. He came in purposely overweight and he had no intentions. You have people, including myself, that's assessing your physical aesthetics and saying that you had too much energy to be a fighter who tried to lose weight the night before and on weigh-in day. No. Shakur tried to. Shakur looked bad. You know, I put this picture up here all the time. Shakur looked bad, bro. When he was over there in the corner, knowing he had dropped his titles, Keyshawn was all, you know, he was hyperactive. He was chilling. You know what I'm saying? He didn't look like his bosom buddy, Shakur Stevenson. Shakur looked miserable, bro. Look at this. His jaws are sunken in. This dude's mouth is clamped together because he's probably thirsty. You know what I'm saying? He tried to make the weight. He got a hoodie on so he doesn't get sick. You know, that's what Keyshawn did not look like right there. I'm being honest. He didn't look like that. He didn't give the indication that he went above and beyond to knock the rest of the weight off. So now you got people acting like us, saying that Keyshawn act like he doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like he's one of those people that he believes the fans gonna be there for him regardless. And he may be right, he may be wrong. But there are some people that's saying, oh, Keyshawn's still young. They'll get over it. And you know what? Partially, I agree with them. This too shall pass, okay? This too shall pass. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not like Keyshawn went in there and did something crazy at the weigh-in. Like try to pick up an object or something. Try to strike De Los Santos, or did strike De Los Santos. I mean, we've seen worse. People have to understand we've seen worse at the face-offs. I'm not trying to compare anything to soften the blow with Keyshawn. But when Canelo pushed Caleb Plant on the face-off, I know it wasn't a weigh-in. Pushed him, and then Caleb came back, and then they actually connected. I never heard of no fines. I never heard any fines going on, anything like that. I know they both made weight, and it's kind of off the topic of the coming path. But what I'm trying to tell you is that we can go back in boxing several times over, even when Crawford faced off against Jose Benavidez, and, you know, Benavidez pushed him and Crawford swung at him. You know, it's been intense moments, even with Riddick Bowe and Larry Donald. when he cracked him with a two-piece. Yes, it's been worse, but the factors that surrounding Keyshawn Davis is the lack of professionalism. It's just him having a hometown fight, him having individuals that was getting behind him that has a bigger bubble of success, a larger bubble, a brighter light over there in Norfolk, Virginia than he does. You have some people up here saying that Keyshawn is getting a little bit, over the top, believing that he's bigger than what he is. He's not allowing his value to come into the light correctly. He's trying to prove to everybody that, yes, he's the guy. He's the one. But Abdullah Mason, on the other hand, is doing everything. He's on the radar. He's giving exciting performances. But there's one touch of recognition and praise that should be given, is that his father, I met him, a couple of times in person. He runs a very solid structure. Being he has, these, a family full of men, young men. They never out of pocket. They move as a unit, very respectful. And I'm not trying to compare households. I'm just saying you have two different demeanors. I like how Abdullah Mason handled himself when he was playing pop-up. When he was defending against pop-ups, people was popping up questions to him, trying their best to see if he was going to throw more mud on Keyshawn's name in the moment. Because Keyshawn started to pop up. He started popping up. Abdullah was like, and then, Keyshawn, had his moments like, oh, he don't want to fight, trying to make it seem like he don't want to fight. But no, he doesn't conduct business in the public eye. So he was kind of taken back, like, I didn't think you was gonna come at me like this. But on the flip side, after this all happened and people started asking him about what do you think about the incident of Keyshawn, I think he handled it very maturely, respectfully. He handled it with fairness. He didn't try to take no jabs from afar. He handled it without anyone being able to run with Abdullah's words as if he was trying to hype up him and Keyshawn in the future. He did an awesome job, man. Salute to you. Salute to you. Your pops has did an outstanding job with them the Mason men over there. He did an awesome job. But what we see from the Davis household is something that I'm feeling some type of way, just because whoever assured you that you would return to Norfolk kept their word. They assured you, based off all the numbers, people echoing, we want to see another one. Out here in the local media, man, they had nothing but positive words to speak about Keyshawn, bro. And wouldn't you know, his brother Calvin, I would say to him, great work with being a stand-up guy. Calvin was actually trying to break up the situation. And he was the one that went in there and fought Albright. He came up short, but he was the one in there attempting to break up the situation. And speaking of the older brother, he had this to say, since Keyshawn didn't want to get on here and send a tweet, because, I guess his ego won't allow him to basically address the public, the consumers that supposedly rock with him and want to see him do better. He don't think it's enough out here for him to acknowledge what he did wrong and just apologize. Calvin Davis, the older brother, right? He said, on behalf of DB3, we apologize for conducting ourselves in that way. Tension was high. and emotions got the best of us. We will be back and better and more professional. It's ups and downs with this, and we're going to take what comes with it. With that being said, we didn't jump nobody, but keep believing the media that twists narratives. Part of the game, we will regroup, but it will be for us and not our people. Shout out to MF and Juice Man. Calvin said, sorry to all the kids that look up to us. We should set better examples. So hearing him say, keep believing the media and part of the game, we will regroup, but it would be for us and not our people. So, I can't tell you how much guessing I'm willing to do to try to figure out what he was talking about at the end of that. I really don't know what he was talking about. I don't get it. But I will say this: at least it took the effort to put out an apology on behalf of was he the primary reason of Keyshawn acting the way he did against Albright? I don't think so. Look, there's nothing that Albright could have did. So bad for Keyshawn to go over there, even when the dude was in the locker room celebrating. Now, if you in the adjacent dressing room and you hear some celebration going on, I would say this, Keyshawn, you really did pick the right team to roll up on and grab them and headbutt them and do whatever. You have people that's up here talking about, oh, he had the knot on his head before, after he got out the ring. Yeah, he did. That doesn't mean once he was headbutted, it didn't swell up even more from when he got in front of the camera. When they was asking him what exactly happened. That doesn't mean that, because we wasn't there. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of people disappointed. Whether Keyshawn don't know how bad it looked for him to be in a second incident where he had his kid close by, and also they had to be escorted. Team Albright had to be escorted out by security, police, or whatever, because allegedly there may have been smoke in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying, people? That's what irritates me. If the police told them to leave the building and it's supposed to be over, what were you trying to do now? Go to jail? Like, why would there be any indication that there was going to be smoke in the parking lot stemming from the two incidents that happened inside the arena? Now you want to take it outside the arena and get a mugshot? People, I don't understand, but I didn't like it. There was a lot of areas and opportunities for Keyshawn Davis to just digress from the situation. Just digress, big dog. Live to fight another day, come back and get back in the good graces of boxing fans. That's all you should have did, but it didn't look like he had free space for that. He had free smoke, but he didn't have free space to download some information and say, you know what, let me hold myself accountable. I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not really feeling this guy right now. And you're talking about somebody who was slowly but surely persuading myself to rock with Keyshawn. And I did mention, his areas, his rough areas. That was a bit ridgy, I tried to activate my support. I did. I attempted to activate my support, man, and show love to Keyshawn, because we need to look at some fighters, especially black fighters, that's willing to be the next stars in the sport, because it's not that many. if you look on the pound for pound list, there's not that many black fighters on the pound for pound list anymore. Now, if you're talking about ESPN's pound for pound, cool, you might find maybe 3. Okay. But when it comes to the ring is leading more to heavier divisions in some cases and lighter divisions. I mean, you see a lot more Japanese fighters that Turki Al-Sheikh is catering to. So you have to understand this man purchased a ring and he's going to do the same thing De La Hoya did. But he might be just a little bit more biased in who he's putting on the list. I mean, Beterbiev, loses his belts to Bivol, and they want to keep him on the list for the next fight. Just like they did Lomachenko. Lomachenko lost. He didn't have no belts, and they kept him on there. That was before Turki Al-Sheikh purchased, but he was on there for a minute. But back to this situation. Yeah, I activated my support for Keyshawn. He blew it. Can he recover? Of course. Do I salute Team Mason and their family structure and how they moving? Yes, I do. I support them. You know what I'm saying? I like how professional they are and everything else. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Haynes in the building. What it do, Haynes? I'm not going to be on here that long anyway. But hope all is well. God bless your brother. Blue Hustle in the building. I see you. But that's what I got to say about that. I want to move on to the Crawford Canelo situation, because it is a situation that's been talked about for quite some time. A lot of us are trying to figure out what was actually going to happen. So, for those of you that's been waiting for some type of answer here and there about certain things, now we have a little bit of traction. We have a little bit of traction that's going on. Dana White will indeed be promoting Crawford Canelo. Okay, let's go for a little quiet reading. Okay, BoxingScene.com. Lance Pugmire, author. He say reversing the course of Canelo Alvarez Terrence Crawford mega fight once more. UFC CEO Dana White revealed he stands again as promoter of the bout, pitting the 4 division champions. At Saturday night's UFC 316 event in New Jersey, White confirmed to reporters the speculation of his return that emerged last month when the UFC moved its Noche event. Pay attention. When the UFC moved its Noche event out of Mexico and off of pay-per-view conflict with Alvarez Crawford on September 13th, Mexican Independence Weekend. Despite saying he can't remember the last time he spoke to Saudi Arabia boxing financier Turki Al-Sheikh, White clarified, I'm promoting the fight, y'all. Dana White moved UFC Noche off of the weekend, out of Mexico, off of pay-per-view, to basically erase, expunge, omit any conflict. We're not talking about minimal conflict, zero conflict with Crawford and Canelo's fight. So pretty much what they're saying, he wants everybody to have ample amount of time on their hands to focus directly on the fight card. Directly on a fight card that will consist of 2 pound-for-pound fighters, 2 4-division champions, accolades heavy on both sides, and also, not to omit, it's for undisputed when it comes to Crawford challenging for the belts. Canelo will be defending the reigning defendant super middleweight world champion, undisputed. He will defend his belts against the challenger, Terrence Bud Crawford. Not only that, this will be a 12-round championship showcase, which may potentially be right back in the same place where they removed it from, and that's Allegiant Stadium. I goes on to say, man, undisputed super middleweight champ Alvarez immediately made it clear he wants the bout to occur in Las Vegas after headlining a disappointing sparsely attended Cinco de Mayo card in Saudi Arabia on May 3rd. Sparsely, y'all. For those of you that are wordsmiths and thespians, sparsely. We don't want a sparse freaking turnout when it comes to Terrence Crawford because that's damn near impossible. But Canelo wants to redeem his Groupon that he cashed in when he fought William School with a C, okay? He said they don't say shit, nobody talks, he said. By eliminating the pay-per-view head-to-head with the UFC, White returned his to his leadership position with existing relationships are expected to keep the fight in the U.S., Las Vegas specifically, and land a solid broadcast streaming deal. That's good news, yo. Insiders have told Boxing Scene that the effort is to bring the bout to its originally planned destination, Allegiant Stadium. Did I not tell you that them removing that from Allegiant Stadium will probably return? But what they needed to do is pretty much set up all the room and board and everything, get all the admin logistics taken care of, the liaison, everything worked out because there's going to be a lot of people showing up to Vegas that weekend. So when the news initially broke, it was people already reserving rooms and everything. This is a huge event. So of course they have to redirect. They threw up the deflection, the smoke grenade. They shut down the ticket sales and everything else. Then, now that it's been cleared that UFC Noche has been removed, they're going to focus solely on that particular weekend, Mexican Independence. Why? Because Canelo's a big deal on that weekend, of course. You know, he probably had his conversation with Dana White. Dana's not new to this. He's not a novice. And it only makes sense for them to return to Vegas, especially in Allegiant Stadium. It's going to be incredible. I can imagine what the crowd noise is going to be. It goes on to say that will require an agreement with the UNLV football program, which is slated to stage a home game against Idaho State at Allegiant Stadium September 13th. Las Vegas T-Mobile Arena, where Alvarez has fought 10 times after opening the arena to box in 2016, could also become the venue. I'll let you guys know when it's settled, White said Saturday. As for the streaming deal, insiders believe White has the muscle to bring the bout to Netflix, given TKO existing relationship with Netflix in the WWE deal. Netflix enjoyed massive viewership with his November coverage at the Jake Paul-Mike Tyson bout. If not the zone, it's the likely landing spot for Alvarez. If not Netflix, y'all, okay? Well, they said Netflix enjoyed the massive viewership with his November coverage of Jake Paul Tyson bout. If not, the zone is likely the landing spot. So if not Netflix, then the zone. That's good news. That's real good news. Why? Because we wanted to have a some type of clarity as to where this fight was going to be. You know what I'm saying? This is the biggest fight of the year. I mean, people can talk and try to shift it around like there's something else that's bigger this year. It's no other fight as big as Canelo Alvarez, Crawford, Canelo. You know what I'm saying? This is for the undisputed defense. This is Mexican independence. This is the biggest fight of 2025. This is one of the bigger fights. Even bigger than Errol Spence Crawford. This fight is bigger than Errol Spence Crawford. Errol Spence. This is a bigger fight. Much more revenue is going to be generated on this fight. It's much more credentials that's on the line, medals, championship belts, legacy. No matter how you slice it verbally, this is a big freaking deal. This is a big deal. The tickets is going to be incredibly expensive. You might want to bring your hoodies, y'all, because a lot of you are going to pay that $8 to $1,000, $1,500 for the nosebleeds. You know what I'm saying? Bring a box of tissue. Your nose is going to be bleeding too. I'm serious. And you might want to sneak in some freaking pre-cooked popcorn. You know what I'm saying? Apple, not what's the Cracker Jacks. You better bring some Cracker Jacks in a little small box. You know, bring some little nice little treats with you, so you won't have to walk all the way down there to the concessions. You know, doing that fight card, because I'm pretty sure the fight card is going to be pretty crazy. You know, this fight right here. I mean, I'm talking about. I'm guessing it's going to break some records. I remember before it was canceled, and they kind of severed the line. The social media, the local media line, the umbilical cord, where they was just trying to force that tainted, contaminated prenatal, care that they was trying to force over there and put all that fat content in it. You know what I mean? They was just trying to say, "Oh, this fight is not going to do or break any other thing. It's not that big. People say it's big, but it's not going to do it." You know, they try to talk about Crawford not being a ticket seller. It's going to be all on Canelo and this, that, and the other. They was trying to force that contaminated, polluted, freaking prenatal, that preamble, freaking nutrition through the umbilical cord. They was trying to push some outdated content through there based off Crawford Spence. They was trying to poison, this fight in September. But now, since we just came off UFC 316 card, which was absolutely superb. Dana White answered some questions and said he's now the promoter for show. And the UFC 317 Noche, I can't imagine what it took for him to move that card off of that freaking weekend. He must have got paid. Dana White must have got paid some money from Turkey Al-Sheikh to put on that card and not have zero conflict in the window of entertainment on that weekend, except watching that Crawford Canelo fight. I'm telling you, people, Turkey must have came out the pocket for him to move that card out of Mexico. People always criticizing Dana White in the UFC. He was having a Noche card in Mexico, yo, while boxing is over here playing around with the biggest fight in the last 8 years. They over there puppetizing. Oh man, let's play. Let's draw the curtains, y'all. Come on, bring on the music. Yeah. They're playing around, putting fight information out, snatching it away, going for the oohs and ah effect. Ooh. Oh. What happened to the fight? Yeah, same old circus act, yo. Same circus act all the time. But you don't hear that from the UFC, man. And look, I'm going to tell you, I know Dana White is going to do an amazing job, man. I know Dana White is going to do an amazing job promoting this fight. We're going to see some stuff, man. I'm telling you. It's going to be incredible. Man, it's going to be incredible. Him promoting it. It's going to be his debut for TKO boxing promotion. Oh, man, it's going to be sick. This is going to be sick, yo. Real talk. This is going to be a sick card. A sick promotion. He going to figure out the broadcasting. But the promotion is going to make sure that it doesn't disappoint. And also, when they sign a network deal, they'll get it done. It's a lot of people that want to touch this fight. They want to be a part of this broadcast. This is history. This is absolute history. I mean, you're talking about anxiously waiting, yo. This is history. You're talking about the core of big fights, man. This is it right here. This is it. There's nothing else when you say the two fighters' name that transmit at a higher frequency than Crawford Canelo. There's no other fight out there that transmit at a higher frequency than this fight right here. Promise you. It's going to break some incredible records. Shout out to Carlos on deck, man. My bad. Shout out to BG on deck. Bug gonna stop Canelo. What's good? What's good with you? The battle of undisputed for sure. For sure. Shout out to Big Bunks and Boxing in the building. Salute to you, man. No doubt. Shout out to AB on the Brown on deck. Just a guy on deck. I see you. They said this fight nobody want to see. Man, come on. Stop it, man. If y'all don't want to see the fight, man, come on, man. Y'all trying so hard to find another fight that matches up to the conversational piece. Now that Dana White has locked in that he's going to promote it. And it's going to be the first fight on TKO boxing promotion. And also, there's no competition with the UFC. This fight will indeed break records. This fight and the fight card will break records. This is going to be incredible. People don't want it to break records because they're trying to act like they semi-Floyd fans. 1 minute they talk about how arrogant he is, but then when they come up to freaking this fight, they talk about how Crawford don't sell. Oh, it's going to be all Canelo putting it on his back. Let him put it on his back then. Y'all don't want putting all that payload on his back. Turkey's trying to have this card do better than Mayweather Canelo. Absolutely. Because guess what? He's going to be up there in history too. With pretty much being the promoter of this fight and the first one on TKO boxing promotion. Of course. Real talk. CJ in the building. What's good? He said he got a rack on it. Hey, that's good money, man. That's good money. Real talk. That's good money. But I think this is going to blow a lot of old boxing records that's in the annals, the boxing annals, archived records. I think this fight September is gonna, exceed numbers. People who are, trying to pretend like they can prognosticate failure, it's just them being simply haters. They don't want to see the good in it because their unfavored fighter is a part of the two-man tandem. The two-man tandem happen to be 2 pound for pound fighters. So you're talking about the two-man tandem. They match up very nicely, credentials, portfolio to portfolio. Excuse me. Crawford, a 2-division champion when it comes to the undisputed titles. Canelo is a 2-time undisputed champion. I mean, they match up very, very nice, man. It's going to be certain people that's desperately trying to keep Crawford in the fire. They just hoping, something, praying, wishing. I remember when the report came out that this specific fighter was going to be the backup for Crawford if Crawford couldn't make it. I said, who thinks like that? Like, come on, man. Why would you be trying to forecast Crawford not showing up? Why y'all say y'all want the best, but y'all act like you don't want the best. You want the best if it's a fighter that you like. That's all. You speak about the best, but the likeness has to be there with y'all. That's what I don't get. You're talking about, do I like both fighters? Do I want to like both fighters? If you're gonna talk about the best, looking at this is as best as it get. This is the best. Record for record. I'm talking about the entire record package. It's heavy on both sides. Now all we need to do is settle this inside the square and determine who's the top dog. That's all. That's all. We need this. We need to determine it inside the square with no distractions. Now that the UFC Noche is off the weekend, no distractions. Full attention will be given to September 13th, Crawford Canelo. Yes, sir. You better know it. You better know it. But shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game. Appreciate y'all for pulling up as always. We should do it again another day, another time. I'm out.